because when she's pressed, she just said, face your work, like she told me. And I think that those boys already who used to bully her already now see something to laugh about, see something to make jest of, and they already noticed that while she was not comfortable, not sitting, not comfortable, and the teacher did not allow her until the class finished. Those boys who bully her already saw that, and immediately the bell rang for closing. She ran out of class. So that means those boys were already looking at maybe she's going to wee on her body and everything, but the girl kept strong, showed every sign of discomfort, and the teacher did not respond. And immediately the bell rang, she ran out, and those boys followed her. So she ran into the toilet, sat in the toilet, not closing the door. You know, you've been there. She didn't even remember to close the door, but the door would close against itself, but not locked. You won't believe that she sat there and those boys followed her and opened the door. Oh, what is this? And they opened the door. She screamed at them. They closed it back. She now locked it. And suddenly, she saw that the door was opened from the back again. And they brought phone and trying to snap her and do a video of her in the toilet. This is what happened. Yes. Thank you, Salari. And this is what this girl went through. And I rushed to school from that day and had some meeting with the school, reported the case to the police themselves. And I am asking for the phone. I'm asking for the pictures. They say it has been deleted. That's how far. But this is a criminal offense. And today, my study and my question, I've asked that. They told me that there's something called purple flip. Because I went to the school to ask, what is the consequence for any child that does this? They said nothing is written down about it. Oh, I laughed. So, but today I've learned that there's something called purple flip, that they need to put the purple flip on this case file about the children that did this, so that anywhere they go to, they would know that they have once been involved in this. So I would give you the rest of what is going on about this matter later. So, but please, in the course of this class now, like I always say, this session started because what we have experienced, we don't want you to experience. Okay. So this is the new experience we had. We don't want you to experience. So we've brought out a lecture out of it. If you are excited to be in this lecture, let me see your hands up that you're excited about today's topic and that we want to teach. Let me see your hands up. You're excited about this. Thank you, Michael Gabriel. Thank you. Let me see those of you that are excited about this class. 3 more hands up. Yeah, more hands. Let me see. We have about 16 people here already. Let me see more hands who are excited about this. So it's not about discussing is this case now. This case has happened. What lesson do we have from it? How do we want to learn from it? Thank you. I can see your hand. Thank you. So that's what we're doing. Now, before I go ahead, because our facilitators are in already, and I told them that it's not about me again. Yeah, no, yeah, I can see you. It's not about me again, that some people are also going through this and they don't know how to handle it. And while I was there, I've been on this office since about 6 a.m. today. And while I was going up to take a nap, because that's my way to take a nap, I got another call from one of us again, and she's on this call again. And I'm surprised that this boy, I will say it for her, one of our sons has also been complaining of bullying, and he started fighting back. And because of that, they are calling him a stubborn boy, this, and they wanted to take him out of school. And one of these days, they took, the parent went to school, called the parent to come and take him. And the next day, the parent didn't allow him to go to school. While the parent did not allow him to go to school, the school came to their house and said, why did you allow this boy to come? I said, yes, I want to talk to him. I want to have a session with him. That woman trying to prevent trouble. And okay, they came to school and took the boy to school at last. And the boy went there and it's been managed. But today, they called the parent again from school that their son is a racist. Can you see now? The story has changed. It was our son being bullied. And Maybe because, sorry. So maybe because we did not send a mail, we did not do this, we didn't know how to handle it correctly. Now the narrative is about to change that our son has used a racist word on the teacher. So they told the parents to come and take him out of school. Then it makes me know that we need this lecture now. And what is this lecture? Let's learn how to stop bullying of our children before it gets out of hand. So, with no reference to the case studies, which we will discuss as a community, let us learn what we should have done so that what happened to is would not have happened. Let us learn what we would have done so that what is happening to this, my son, too, would have not happened. But before that, I want to take 2-3 quick comments. Do we have anybody here too that your child is complaining of bullying in class? Just unmute and say, yes, my child is also complaining. Yes, my child is also complaining. Let's have like 3 or 4 of that so that our facilitators will know what we have at hand. Yes, the floor is open. The floor is opened. Who's talking? Am I clear enough? Am I clear enough?
You are clear.
Yes, I've asked the question. Yes, I just wanted to unmute and tell us. I just want our facilitator to know that what we have at hand is serious here. I've said if your son has come home and complained of bullying in school, can you please just signify and let's know the essence of today's class? Please, can you signify? Maybe it's a one-off thing. Maybe it's just my own family experiencing it. I can see one of our daughters on the set now. Oh, Amafola, welcome. I'm not sure. Am I sure people are hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you, so.
Yes, but
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yes, that's Sunday. Thank you. Okay. People are here to learn today, but I think if I don't have a case, if I don't have more cases, then that means it's a one-off thing from my family. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking. As your children come home and had a complaint about bullying, I want other parents to confirm if this is happening to their children. So if you are hearing me, if that is not happening, then that means it's my family case alone, and we don't need this lecture. That's what I'm saying here.
According to statistics,
Yeah.
Pastor Fem, 1 in 5, 1 in 4 children are being bullied in the school environment. So even in this congregation that we have here right now, there should be at least 2 or 3. But it's not everybody that has the courage to actually state that they are being bullied. There may be even parents who are unaware that their children are being bullied. And this sort of leads me on to the discussion that I always say, that people or parents need to have consistent conversations with their children. In the same way as your husband or partner comes home and you say, hello, darling, how was your day? You should be saying to your children, how was your day? what happened today at school? And then just keep on asking, okay, so that happened, and then you did what? And then that person did what? And then they said what? And then what happened? And you keep going until the child has nothing more to say. It is very important. It is fundamental to that relationship and getting to know the life of your child in their school environment. Because even if they're not totally open in everything they say, as an adult, using your listening skills, you can tell, this does not sound right, or I think we need to look into this in a bit more detail. This is why in some of my other presentations, I say consistently ask the next question. You know, if you start to say, we played a game. What game? Who started the game? How did it go ahead? So is that who, what, why, and when kind of question?
Ekanem, Ekanem, are we good? I want us to take this thing gradually, because I would like to take a class. It's one of the things I have to instill as a community leader doing this. So it would be of no essence to be leading a community where people will not be bold. So I think one or two things is happening, and I would like to clarify it before we go ahead in a session like this. Because if we had not had complaints, if people had not come talk to us, maybe some lectures, some things are not needed, even if we know it is needed. So, and people have to be courageous to say some things if we are saying vulnerable things like this to go ahead. So it's either some people are just on the set, some people are on this set that are just married couples that don't have children yet. So I want to know we have a case in our hand.
Okay, let us look at it also from the aspect that bullying can be something that is even happening at work to anybody indirectly. So even if your child is not being bullied, you may be being bullied. Now,
I have people on this call, so don't you just take it. I would drive it further.
Okay.
There are people on this call who have spoken to me. So it's either they are not listening, of which if you have your picture here and you have your name here and you're not listening, I also don't appreciate that. So I want to be clear that it is not a one family case. I think I am standing on that. I want to show it's not a one family case. So if it's a one family case, that family should treat themselves. And that is where I stand in the course of today's lecture that we want to do. If there is no other family, then why are we here? There's no reason to be here. So maybe some people are in choir rehearsal, some people are in different places. So I want to put that question clear. I know that we have 2 more, 3 more families. Let's know what is happening to them. So then we know that we have them. People who are here to also learn would learn. So I want to stay on that and stay on that very clear. So my question this evening is, do we have other parents here whose children have come home and complained of bullying? That's my question. Some people are just tuning in. So I want you to signify by a raise of hand or by a meeting and said, my child has also had this complaint. Then we know why we are here this evening. So that's my question, and that's what I'm requesting of you. So do we have any other parents who has experienced bullying, whose children is experiencing bullying? Are we here? Yes, I see. The fellow said Daniel has. Mr. Sunday. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. You're saying that's happened to your son too?
Yes.
Okay. We have 2 already. Do we have 1 more? Mr. Sunday, please, can you share with us what type of complaint your child brought home?
The first time they came to United Kingdom, they started complaining that in their classroom, that the children always complain about their hairstyle, that they doesn't have hair, that they doesn't have hair, that they look different.
They used to say they are bald.
Yes. We always cut our hair very low. They always have low haircut. And most of the English people has a long hair, the hairstyle, the haircut, and there are things like that they always laugh at them. That they doesn't feel comfortable. And I encourage them that they have to stand out, that they are different. As a parent, I have to instruct that's confidence in them, that they are unique and they are peculiar. I talk to them with the word of God, and because of that, they stand their feet, they overcome it. And the schools, I must confess, their class teacher really tried with word of encouragement to harmonize them together, because it's their first time, among maybe pupils of maybe out of 20 children in the classroom, just one black person. It looks different actually. Even as a parent too, when you go to their school, you just find out you are just the only black or something like that. But with time, they adjust, and things like that, it has stopped really. And sometimes, children actually, them too, they will complain, this or that. But it happens, actually.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for sharing with us how it has happened. And that's Liverpool. I didn't know it's you. Good to see you again.
No, that's Maidstone.
Okay,
now.
You moved to Maidstone now. Okay. So that's Maidstone. Now, then Mama Falatu has complained about what happens to Daniel. Okay. In that fate, Mommy Elizabeth, are you there? So I guess she's not on set. Ella, are you there? Okay. See, some of these people are in here, but they've not. I don't know if they can hear me or not. Okay. At this junction, we've had about 2 or 3 more consents. 2 or 3 more consents. And I think, Mama Fola, you want to talk?
Yeah, Daniel's own was a certain boy. When we first came in also, he was in year 3. So there is this white boy that used to come whenever he's studying. The boy would just take off his book and throw it at him several times. And he will come home, he will cry and tell me that there's this boy and I went to the school to complain. So they said they were going to change their seat. But there's this thing that Daniel will tell me. Daniel will tell me that the boy is his friend. So I would like, how would your friend be mean to you? He's not your friend. He's trying to bully you and all. So I trained him about bullies and trained him some signs of bullies. So since then, I think the boy has taken caution, though they tried in the school to put caution to the certain boy, which I don't want to mention his name. And also, there was this time that Danny said they want to be taking food to school. So I started making food. I stopped them because they used to eat from school. So, make different kind of foods, bits, different spices and all. Yeah, so the boy, and I know what I prepare and all. So when Danny was eating, I think while he was eating during break time, so one of the white boy, tells him that his food is stinking, that it stinks. So Daniel cried out. In fact, before I got to school, they called me already that Daniel is in tears, that kind of thing. They don't want me to come and start talking. So when I got there, I saw Daddy in tears and all. So I asked what happened. So they said that they will tell the boy not to come to school the next day and all. So I just don't want trouble. So I had to stop Daniel from taking food from home because I don't want him to feel some type of weak, because it will still happen, even if they will still show it. So, but the school
did their best.
Just told, yeah. So they did their best. They are going to tell them about it, that people have their own kind of food which they have to adapt to. But me, I don't want them to go that way, so that there won't be much of talk. So I have to just stop it and allow them to be eating from school, and that's it.
Thank you very much, Safola. So at this junction, we've seen about 2 families, and I've given you 1 or 2 other stories that is hot at hand that I need to find a way of solving now that regards this, my son who has now been called the racist here. So this is getting out of hand now. So how do we stop this before it gets out of hand? At this junction, I want to bring in Ekanem from Africa to coordinate the rest of the session for about 45 minutes. And I think she has 1 or 2 other persons she wants to bring in. Thank you for coming on board. Then when they are done, we'll now go back to explain to you what is happening with the East story and what we have done and what we still plan to do. Thank you. Over to you, Ekanem and her team from Africa. Hello, Ekanem.
Sorry, I just realized I hadn't unmuted myself. Good evening, everyone. This technology can, be something sometimes. Yeah. So I'm here I'm going to look at what bullying is. I'm not going to be specific on any of the cases.
Of course.
Because I will leave you to deal with that later. So I'm just going to look at what is bullying. How
we are not seeing your face today.
It's a very ugly face today. All right, let me see, because I just came back from work and I just wanted to let people concentrate on what I'm saying rather than what I'm looking like. So I may be able to get the camera up, but I don't want to touch anything and it all goes off. So good evening once again, everyone. I just want to look at what bullying is, because I think we all sometimes have different interpretations of what it is. And just to make, in my sort of introduction, some comments about bullying, what it is, and so on, and how I see it. Well, bullying is basically where one person, and we're not putting an age limit on that person for now, seeks to harm or intimidate or coerce someone who is vulnerable. That is basically somebody who is in a weaker situation that they can climb on and do and continue to niggle that person. It is a repetitive and intentional aim to hurt that person or even a group of people. And basically, it's where there is an imbalance of power. So the person who is doing the bullying feels that he's more powerful than the person that he's going to bully, with whatever weakness they can see in that person. It is an act that has no color, no creed. Anyone can be bullied at any age. So if you are a child, you can be bullied by another child or even another adult. If you're an adult, you can be bullied by adults and even children too, and then if you're an old person, you can be bullied by even your own children. So do you see, it has no limitation whatsoever. My comments are generic, and just to show you that this is a very open field, an open game for everybody. A lot of times people bully where, somebody's an odd person out. So they can bully you because you are a certain color and you're the only one there. So they feel empowered because it's them against you or us against that person. They can bully you because you're disabled or you speak in a certain way or you don't understand the language, and all of these things, I think every one of you can recognize because you're there in that situation where you're in a foreign place with limitations on you currently until you get to know the system. So the system can bully you a human being can bully you, and it doesn't matter the age whatsoever. And what kind of bullying takes place? You have two forms. You have the physical bullying, where the person is right in front of you, and you see them every day, so they can basically be hitting you, kicking you, taking away your books, throwing your things down, all that kind of behavior that can be very intimidating. They can stalk you, so they're constantly following you. And we've heard of cases where people have been stalked and finally even killed. So basically, they're there to harass you. So your child may be in school and it's constantly being followed by other children. And every day they live in fear, basically, of that incident happening because they're not sure what's going to happen. They don't know whether they're going to turn a corner and they're by themselves and that bully or that person is there. Grooming is a form of bullying as well. And that can happen to anybody. So the other thing that can happen is cyberbullying. And this is the one that you don't see your perpetrator. Sometimes you do know them, especially where they're at school and they're sending emails, or not emails, but they're sending pictures about. So sometimes you will know who started it and when it happened and so forth. With the cyberbullying, you really have to look out for help from the authorities for that. But let me just go back. With the cyberbullying, they can take the format of spreading malicious and abusive rumors and gossiping, emailing or texting you with threatening and intimidating remarks, mobbing, which is a group or gang that will just target you. So you probably be deluged with all kinds of information from different people. As I said before, harassing you repeatedly, intimidation and blackmail, stalking you online and continually harassing you. And the blackmailing reminds me of county lines, where basically if they find you in a particularly vulnerable state, they will take a picture and then they will threaten to use that picture in a place or in a time which is inconvenient to you. And that in order to make you do what they want. And it's part of the grooming thing as well. Posting embarrassing or humiliating images or videos without your consent, which is sometimes they can take a picture of you and adjust it and then put it out. Posting your private details online without your consent. General bullying or stalking. Grooming, that's enticing or goading you online to self-harm and commit a crime. Setting up a false profile, identity fraud or identity theft, or using gaming sites to attack you or bully you, because sometimes we allow our children to go online and play games with other people. We need to know where they're playing the games. We need to know who they are with. We need to ensure that they're actually being in a group with people who are the same age as them. And of course, theft, fraud, or deception over the internet. So there are many things that you can do. And I think I will just go straight into that. So basically, if you see something that's inappropriate online, the best thing to do is to report it, no matter where it is. Please report it. Did somebody want to ask a question? I had the... Yeah. If someone spreads rumors about you, once again, the UK laws are against harassment on or offline. This can be distressing. Anything nasty posted about you can be seen by a lot of people. And of course, this can be very distressing to one. And what I'm going to do is just go through. There are various laws that have now been put up to assist. So there's law, the Protection from Harassment Act. There's the Malicious Communications Act 1988. There's the Communications Act 2003, the Obscene Publications Act 1959, Computer Misuse Act 1990, Cyberbullying in the Workplace, Health and Safety and duty of care laws. So a lot of these laws have been placed there because these incidences are and have been arising, and it's basically there to try and assist you to get some kind of redress and stop it from happening. And you have that right to actually make that complaint and follow it through. But then, you know, the question that we ask ourselves, what's the impact on our children or on anybody if you're caught up in a bullying situation? And that is what makes this crime so testing. Because very often what you find is that the signs that you may see in, say, your child, because we're going to concentrate on children today, is that they may start to have poor appetite. They're not interested in eating. You may find that they're constantly crying without any explanation. They may even be suicidal, and that's where it becomes something of real concern, because people have taken their lives because they see no way out. It causes depression, you know, distraction from your daily lives. It causes abnormal fear because you don't know where the next attack is going to come from. You don't know what is going to happen to you. And if you as an adult can imagine this and you know what your child is going through, it's that feeling of helplessness. So you may find as well that they sleep less, their sleep is disturbed, they're not getting enough rest, they're a lot more crotchety as well. They feel a sense of being unworthy. You know, sometimes they may even feel that it's their fault that they're being bullied. You know, it interferes with their academic performance. And you would be amazed to find the number of children who have actually dropped out of school because they just didn't want to experience what they're going through, and just didn't know how to handle it, or didn't have parents who were aware of it to, you know, see them through this situation. And it can be a long walk. They hate school and they refuse to go. And sometimes, you know, these are excellent students and they're even excellent in a sports situation, but because they experience the bullying, they drop out. So in effect, 1 in 5 children between the age of 12 and 18 have been bullied. And so you ask yourself, so why would somebody bully? And I was kind of going through something the other day, and I wondered to myself where bullies go after they finish school and what causes them to be like this. And sometimes it's rage. It's a feeling of revenge. Sometimes it's jealousy. Sometimes it's that feeling of wanting to control something. They feel insecure. They're not getting enough attention, so they're seeking attention. Because sometimes when they bully a child, they get a gang to watch it happen, because basically they think that they look bigger, they look better, because they can do this to one person. They are really people with low self-esteem and have experienced some sort of stress or trauma previously. Now, the thing is that, and this is one of the reasons why it's very, very important to try and stop bullies early and do what you can. Because very often by the time the bully has left school, he then goes into the workplace and carries on his behavior because no one has stopped them or gone against what they have been doing. So as a parent, what can you do? I mean, I'm just firing off these things and we're not really talking about them in detail, but I'm hoping that you will take it and run with it once I finish. And that is that you need to build the confidence of your child. You know, make them really understand who they are and their differences, and tell them that it's not an issue. They're entitled to be different. And how do you do that? By affirming them daily. And you don't be a bully in your own home. because we keep looking at it as the
that. I like that. Don't be a bully in your own home. I like that.
It's so true. Because if you think about it in our discussion, we know that our children emulate or they copy or they mirror what they see at home. Now, you tell me, if you're in a home where there is domestic violence, what are you bringing up with another bully in the house? Your child is going to say, okay, if I want something, I've got to be physically violent. If I want something, I've got to shout and scream. I've got to intimidate another human being to obtain that item or get something done, anything. So don't start the bullying. I mean, I put it down to first aid. They say that the first aider is the person who arrives at that scene to deal with it. You need to be the first aid in your home. So no bullying, no misbehavior that your child can take on and run into school with to intimidate the lives of other children. At the same time, when you're bringing your child up to be a holistic human being, make him strong and not totally compliant. And what I mean by that is that it is that compliance at times that the bully can turn around them, because it means that if the bully says jump, they jump. Because in your home, you've intimidated your child so much that the child is afraid to ask questions, afraid to do something different because of what will happen to them. So the bullying is the same as what they're getting outside. So they're used to it. Does that make sense, Pastor Femi? Hello, Pastor Femi.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Can you see what can you see what's happening there when you bring up a compliant child who only knows to do what he's told? It's something that can actually be used against him. Not that you're bringing up a child that is, but you need to bring up a child that is also capable of saying no in the right place. Does that make sense to parents? Because our parents, we have found here is that because you come from a culture where a child doesn't query you, he goes to school and doesn't query as well. It's afraid. That is not acceptable because that can go against him. I don't say will in every case, but you also need to bring up a bold child. You also need to report any form of bullying. But how do you know that the bullying is taking place if you're not even communicating effectively with your child to hear about it, to take the time to listen, to query what they're saying in order to establish what's really happening to your child? And even noticing that something is different. Do you understand? So, and you need to teach your child that when they're on the internet, they keep their information private, all information, their address, their age, their everything private. And you need to put boundaries on the line as well. There are systems in place for safeguarding your child. You know, make sure that they don't upload anything without your say-so or you being there, so you see what is being uploaded. So nobody on the other side says to them, let's keep this a secret between us. Oh no, nothing is a secret. They report it to you or their school teacher. They need to understand that the moment that they click that word send, they lose control of absolutely everything that they have sent. It is now out there for posterity, and you just don't know where it's going to come up. The number of times that I have seen things that, you know, happened, let me say, 10, 15 years ago. And I know that it happened 10, 15 years ago because 10, 15 years ago, I saw that very video. Pastor, there was a video of a lady who was in a relationship and the man must have convinced her to do certain things online. When they broke up, he splashed it out there just a day or two before she was going to get married to another man. Of course, the wedding broke up. That was like 10, 15 years ago. And everybody was like, wow, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Would you believe that I saw that video then? And not recently, but like 10 years later, that video surfaced again, which means that somebody found it and thought, wow, because they hadn't seen it before and thought, oh, let me be the first to splash this information. Because right now, everybody is a gossip monger. And the best tool of gossiping is the internet right now. Because it's not like the old time newspapers where there is editing, where they will say, no, this is not the right thing to put out there. Everybody wants to be an editor. Everybody wants to have the power to say, I was the first to give this information. So please teach your children that send is the worst thing that they can do without knowing what they're doing. If at any time they're online and somebody's pressurizing them to do something that they're not comfortable with, they should just log out. You must constantly check the settings of your children on their phones and things like that. Don't assume that you've set it once and that's the end. Keep it updated, especially the location of where that phone is. Remove that, except for when you need it for yourself. Just seeing if there's anything else. Most sites have an age limit of over 13, but of course, our children are accessing some of these sites to do things that they shouldn't really be doing. They need to, especially some of the, what do they call these sites now? These making friends sites. And really, they're just places to either have sex or to go into relationships. So please be careful of that. Don't just say yes to everything for your children. Know who their friends are. Set boundaries. And don't be afraid to report. Make your child understand what bullying is. And as I said before, make sure you're not the one who is introducing yourself to your child to become a bully. So what I've done in this short synopsis is just to basically go through the various elements of what is a bully, what types of bullying there are, what can you do, and how does it impact the lives of a person who is bullied. And then finally,
can we use like the last 10 minutes now to look at how the ones that has to do in happening in their school, what should parents do?
Basically, parents should report. Every school should have a bullying policy. It may vary from school to school, but they may be very similar. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of one of these, and I wasn't able to get hold of one for today's discussion. But every school should have a bullying policy, harassment policy, whatever it is. You should make sure that you have a copy of that. And if your child reports that they are being bullied, immediately go into the school and report it. It's become, quite prolific at the moment, and for some time. And the schools are supposed to be taking it seriously. And they will go through their procedures. And all you have to do is make sure that you have made that complaint and stay on the case.
That's fine. Now, when you say report is physically or by email?
You must always make sure that you have evidence. You must do both. You must send an email, must send a written letter, and let them have that. So because you're looking, you must have proof that you handed it in or you've sent it by email. Once you've sent it by email, and always I would suggest to you that you don't just write to the headmistress or headmaster, but you also write to the school board so that it's at the highest level and it's being going to be looked at.
Thank you. Now, when some of our children are fighting back, what's the harm in that?
It will depend very much on how you say that they are fighting back. We don't expect anyone to become physically about it unless, of course, they're in a situation where they're having to defend
Okay,
themselves.
maybe they threw the book at the child to threw the book at them. What does that look like?
Well, that's just annoyance on both sides, isn't it? I mean, anybody looking at that will look at it as it's an equal fight. But as much as possible, if they can try to, I would say, avoid anything that would put them in the reverse position. Although I'm sure that it's not an easy thing to do.
Okay, we've seen cases where a young child is playing football and intentionally they kick and would kick him and would kick him and would kick him. And the boy now had a record that if he fights them, police will arrest him. Is that funny?
It does sound funny, but I mean, the thing is that don't forget that any form of, if you're outside and you're playing, if you attack somebody, it's GBH. Can be, tantamount to GBH, grievous bodily harm. And you shouldn't put yourself in that situation. The next thing is to remove yourself from a situation where they are going to kick you unnecessarily or become faster on your feet.
That's fine. Thank you very much, Ekanem, for this short moment to orientate our people. And this is the community that we lead. And like I said, I'm not that pastor that is just praying. I'm praying and I am thinking and we are doing. And that is the culture that we have built here. So if I've learned from this session today, we have learned that we should not make our children bully compliant because we have bullied them from home. And from then, whenever they see bullies outside, they obey. They obey. So our children should be able to resist that because we don't bully them in. It's a very strong point that I learned from Ekanem today. Also, please report. When the child says it, we've done a lot of pepping them up and getting them confident. But we are saying now that you need to go to the school and report, face them physically. Face them physically. And wow, that's a very good one I just got there. Face them physically and write an email to them on this. So let's take about 2-3 more people who want to tell us what you have learned. Let's take 2-3 more people telling us what you have learned on this call today. Yes, the floor is open. What have you learned on this call today? Before we now move to our own case study, what have you learned from this call today? Who wants to? Can I see hands up? Can I see hands up? What have you learned on this call today? Here we go again. What's happening today? What is your take home? Yes, we have one hand up. Who is this? Yeah, Mama Elizabeth, over to you. Yeah. Mrs. Bernard, over to you. Mrs. Bernard, over to you.
Sorry. Good evening, all.
Good evening.
I've learned, with what our sister just said now, I think what I learned from the whole discussion this evening is about this reporting of a thing. Some of the parents, like somebody like me, I didn't know that I'm supposed to report. There are some things that I'm supposed to report. I have 4 victims, though. My son came to me when I go to school to pick him. He's always complaining to me, this person punched me, I've been bullied. No, I'll keep advising him, don't worry. If they are doing it to you, what I will advise you, don't play. Once you know that they are there, don't play with them. You find a way out. So I didn't report. I didn't go to the school to report. And I think with the situation, the whole thing is turning against my son. So thank God with this little meeting, at least I've learned something there, that if a child should maybe lay a complaint about school, you need to go and report in school or write email to them. At least with this now, I know if there's anything like that comes up again, I'll know how to take it up.
Thank you very much. Okay, I can move on to you.
You must always remember that this place is based on evidence gathering. So if something happens to you, it's like even if you go to a shop and you don't get service properly and you wish to complain, the complaint should always be in writing. Complain to them there physically and say you're not happy about it. And if they can remedy it right there, good. If you're satisfied, fine. If you're not satisfied, immediately you get back, write a letter. Itemize what has happened, itemize how it made you feel, itemize the remedy that you want. Because that will be the question. It's okay, Mrs. So-and-so, you have said that we didn't do this. Okay, so what do you want? And if they can do it, they will do it. Otherwise, they'll come to some sort of medium ground. But you know, to complain about something is not enough. You need to say what it is that you want. Do you want us to give you back your money because the product was not good? Do you want us to give you another product because you do like the product, but this one was faulty? Do you understand? State what your desires are, so that if they fail to do that, then you can still complain again to say, well, no, the second one you sent me was no good. So in the same way with school, my child has, your child says to you that he was punched and kicked today. You go in and you say, Mrs. Teacher, my son is complaining that he's being punched and kicked. And it's not just happened today, it happens every day. It's just that he hasn't been speaking to you because he's afraid to. I feel my child is being bullied. Please, can you make a note of this and monitor the situation? Because she will have to try and see whether is this really true or your child is making it up. Because after all, if somebody alleges something against you, you need to prove it. So when you get home, write a letter, itemize. Today we saw you on such and such a day. I complained to you that my son had said XYZ, that he had been hurt on this such a day. And you state it so that they understand what your question is, what your query is, what the situation is, and then leave them to do it, what they need to do. And of course, they will have policies and procedures that they can follow or they should follow. And that is where, if those policies and procedures are not followed, once again, you can make a complaint. That is the way it works here. That is the culture here.
Hey, yeah, sorry, please.
Okay, Mommy Bernard, okay?
Yeah. Sorry, please. There's something I still want to ask because, when my son was telling me that the way he complained to me, I told him that once the friends, because the classmates, once they are looking for his trouble or maybe they are looking for a way to bully him, I should go to the teacher and report to the teacher. And then my son keep telling me that each time he goes to the teacher to complain to the teacher, that the teacher will tell him, go and sit down. Go and sit down. But if he said, okay, let him respond to them, the teacher will now call him and start saying all sorts of things. And then, though I would say I don't even know where to start because I didn't report the issue. But these people, they are good in lying. And when they say it, they will they all agreed on the same thing that they've said. So I think I complained to Pastor. I told Pastor something today. My son have an issue in school today, which he has been excluded from school today.
Because of what?
Yeah, why they excluded him from school today is because, according to him, he said that a teacher called him black boy. Black boy, go away. And then he now said to the teacher, white lady, go away. And then the teacher picked an offense and then reported the issue to the head teacher. And then the head teacher now excluded him. And now when he came back, they gave him, though I was not the one that picked him from school today. When he came back, he came with a letter. And the letter is with me. I think they are inviting the parents tomorrow to come down to school by 8:30. So I don't know. And what the letter is even saying here is I don't even understand.
The thing is that I cannot advise on a particular case, but this is where I was saying to you all that you need to really be at the forefront of what's happening in the lives of your children. And I think that you need to write a letter of complaint also that your child was excluded, and get from your child what actually happened so that you go in prepared. You need to do some homework to then get clarity as to what happened and write it down so that in the heat of the moment or the situation, you can explain exactly what you have just explained here about how he was dealt with and how he responded in that situation. And like I said before, state that you don't agree with him being removed from school on the basis of that. But, I'm not advising on any particular case here, but you need to get some, clarity yourself as to what the situation is. Because, I don't know what happens in the school. I don't know the politics of that school. But you need to get it handled properly. Otherwise, the whole thing can become very, very messy.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Mommy Comfort, your hand is up. Can you take your Mommy Comfort over to you? Your hand is up.
Good evening, house.
Good evening. Go ahead.
I am really very angry this evening. I really appreciate this seminar. It has really taught me a lot of things. This evening, I have learned what not to do. Madam Ekanem has told us that we should not instigate our children to be the ones to be the bullies. But one thing is that if we don't train them to be defensive, we will be at the receiving end at the end of the day. Meanwhile, that's not where I am going. My reason for not wanting to report most times is that I don't like being on the black book of anybody. I don't like being the one reporting issues every day. I don't want it to get to a point of Shewanekoni. Is it only you? Are you the only one? But I think I am getting a little bit uncomfortable with some testimonies I am hearing every day. So I don't know how to go about it. Now my son is angry with me because I said I am angry. He said, that is why I don't want to tell you, mommy. That is why I don't want to tell you. I know you will flare up. I know you will tell them in school. Even now, he has gone to sit at a corner because I said I am angry with what they just pushed him and they injured him. Of course, he was not bleeding. He is not bleeding presently. But when you touch his leg, it's paining him. He had injured his palm.
Have you taken him to the doctor? When these things happen,
I just saw it this evening. I'm just removing.
You need to take him to the doctor.
So what am I hearing? What am I hearing? Hey, okay. Yeah, you say you take him to the doctor.
Immediately?
You need to.
No.
Yeah.
When did this happen, Mommy Comfort?
Now he's just telling me. Where did
that happen? It happened today in school?
School, yes.
Today?
You need to take it.
And how did it happen?
He told me, he said, Mommy, I am not happy today. He said, I was engaged in a fight. Somebody fought me. The same boy that held my hands to the back the other time when we were playing ball was still the same person that pushed me now. I am just talking in a low tone because I can see that he's angry with me talking. But I tell you, I am extremely angry.
Just take it, okay. Ekaneme has advised that the next point of call is the hospital.
Do I take him there now?
No, it's who is his GP?
Well, the thing is that you need to see the GP. You need to make him observe him that he has been injured, he's hurting, and it is as a result of what happened to him in school. This is part of logging the evidence.
Okay.
Because this is something that happened to him in school, and you need to report it. Because the school has a responsibility for health and safety of your child.
Now, Ekaneme, you can see why this topic came up. Yeah, no, save the child. Just take the child out for now, man. Take the child out. Yeah. So, Ekaneme, you see that I don't just do things. And when things come up like this, when my spirit picks up things like this, that means something is wrong in the atmosphere. Look at 3 cases now of bullying that has escalated. My son Isaac bullied up to being wounded. My son Bernard bullied up to the extent of now being turned around. And my daughter. So it shows that this is the paradigm that is ongoing, and our community need to speak. And I would definitely surface in all of these schools all together to look at now. Bernard has a letter to read. I still have to see that letter tonight before they go to that meeting. So look at what is happening here, and it's obvious that it's all about bullying. Now, what we were having was our children being collected. Now that we stood our ground a little bit on that, I think now is this bullying to assault. And parents, we have learned today. Now we need to be very composed and be very strategic in what we are doing. Just like I am also learning from everybody around me, that we need to log all this complaint in officially, and we need to speak up as parents. We need to speak up. So would allow Ekaneme go, because professionally there's a level at which he's supposed to get involved in what we are saying now, unless we have followed all due process. So we'll talk about the due process now, and we can always get back to us. So Ekaneme, thank you very much for coming, and let me take it on here as a community leader, and we discuss the cases in specific. Now, thank you. So, guys, we can now go off YouTube. We finished the session on the training, so you guys on YouTube can take the YouTube down, but we now continue our discussion and make sure it is still recorded on